Well, howdy, folks. Welcome back to Ray County. We are into another month. We've got all the bales, except for these ones, have been taken off and sold. They managed to get 3 truckloads taken out of here last night, and that was pretty much all that was left. So they said they'd cruise back down here this morning nice and early and get the rest of them out of here. Do you know what? We ended up with 174 bales in total. It was just over 600,000 litres that got taken off these 3 fields. And surprisingly, well, and very surprisingly, I think we ended up with about $40,000 worth of income. The 3 full truckloads, were about 13,000 each. In fact, we haven't even been paid for those ones, which are heading off at the moment. So it was a huge amount of income. I was blown away by how much money this grass made. Well worth the effort. Now, we're already into the work. Our helper is here already, and I thought we'd start off by saying hello to him. Well, I've already said hello and got him up and underway, and he is well and truly into it. Today we have Joran here giving us a hand, and we're getting straight into our field prep. We have to get things planted, ideally this month, April, for some corn and some soybeans. We want to get those in ASAP. So he's out here ploughing this field. This one needed ploughing because it had corn in it previously before the grass, whereas the other 2 with soybeans don't need ploughing. So the plan for today is to get this field prepped. I'm going to get some lime put on the fields, because the other thing we've done is we've actually got the agronomist out here and we have been able to purchase the soil information for these 3 fields. So we'll just take a quick look at that. So there you go. As you can see, the pH levels on these fields are not very good. And as you can see here, we've actually got a delivery of lime on its way in from the co-op. So they have bought a trailer in, or they're bringing a trailer in, and we're going to be able to use that. They're going to leave it here and we'll be able to fill up with lime. So get this field here ploughed, field 28 ploughed. We've got 26 and 29 both need lime, and then they're going to need cultivating, and then we're going to go and try and get into some planting. Then 28 plough, lime, cultivate, and then get in and plant that as well. So like I said, it is a rather busy day that we have got planned in front of us. Whether we get it all done today, well, we have to get it all done before the end of the month, but whether we get it all done one episode will be another story. So let's have a look here. Yep, here comes the truck. They are on their way in here, and we'll be able to get started with some lime. So we'll go and grab the John Deere out of the shed, we'll grab the lime spreader, and we'll have a look at this trailer. It's a pretty cool trailer. Not one I've actually used before, but it lifts up at the back and you can just drive in basically underneath it effectively and load out the back. So very cool. So we'll go have a chat to this fella, see what they're going to do. I think they're just going to leave the truck here for us, and we're going to go start getting some lime spread. So let's get into it. So that's us all hooked up here with the lime spreader on the back. There's actually, just jump up in there, you can just see it is pretty much full of lime from last year. We parked it in the shed with the rest of the lime that was in our auger wagon, but we have had the rundown on how to use this trailer. There's a live bottom by Trout River there, as you can see. Now if we just jump up into the cab here, basically in front of the rear axle there, you can see there's a big hydraulic ram, which when you activate, lifts up the rear of the trailer and also slides backwards. So the semi there's just moving backwards a little bit. Here we go, slide that down a touch, but as you can see, we've now got enough of an overhang. We can get the lime spreader in underneath that and load up with it. So fingers crossed, this is going to work pretty well for us. And hopefully we can have enough lime in that truck to be able to do the whole field, all 3 fields actually, with that. So let's go and get started. We're going to do the 2 grass fields first, and then we'll get those cultivated. We'll wait for Joran to be finished over there with the ploughing. So let's jump up in here and we'll go make a start. So we'll just roll here into the field, and you can see we do have our automatic application up there in the corner. We bring up our live map, you can see exactly what is going to be happening. So I'm just going to set up our steering assist and get things underway. Alright, that steering assist good to go. We just need to get this gate here unfolded on the back, and then we should be able to turn that on. And with that steering assist, we're up and underway, and we're going to get our automatic application of lime put air onto the grass. Actually, it's not going on very heavily. I wonder if it's going to detect the grass requirement, or is it doing it for loamy sand? No, it's detecting loamy sand, so I'm hoping that's going to be doing a good job. Seems to be going on, that's the main thing. Yeah, we'll just carry on going. It's not using up too much lime, which is one of those beautiful things about precision farming. It doesn't use up too much. Now, I was worried that it was going to take Joran a wee while to get that field done, but he is quite literally and figuratively ploughing through the work in there, which is fantastic, because hopefully if we can get the lime spread and he can get that field done, then he might be able to do the lime on that while we jump into the Ford, pull out the cultivator, get that up and running, and get some work done as well. So plenty to do, plenty to keep us busy, but let's just keep on moving. Let's get this field done. That's pretty much our lime all finished. Once round the field, and just that little bit there was a full load. So with that done, let's go and check out how this trailer works. Like I said, not something I have used before. I have seen them being used, but it's certainly a new experience for me. So what I think we're going to do is, if we kind of haven't really left it in the right spot, but I think if we just sort of head over this way, hopefully swing around. It may have to be running, the truck may have to be running to be able to power the conveyor there, the live bottom. Let's just go and park about there, see if we can press R. No, there's no unload option there, so we might just have to jump up in the truck and see what we can do. So we've got an option there to dump lime, so we're just going to do that, turn that on, and that filled it up in no time whatsoever. Took about 12% of the trailer, so I guess that means we're going to have sort of 9ish, 8.5, 9 loads out of there. So we'll see how that goes for the fields. Obviously, as we always know, and we always talk about, headlands do take the most, so by the time we've been once more around and start getting on some up and down rows, hopefully maybe 4 loads. Even if we do 4 loads out of this field, it's going to mean that we're going to need 4 in this backfield. I don't think we're going to have enough for one trailer load, but that's alright. I'm sure the co-op will bring some more down for us if that's what we need. So there we are, back where we started. Let's get that powered up again. Jump on our guidance steering, not the best place to do it. There we are. Get that row up and moving, and yeah, hopefully everything is going to turn to a appropriate shade of green. I'm not going to say it's all going to be a nice shade of green, because as we can see, depending on the soil types, and there is some varied soil types across this map. The soil map is fantastic. It gives some nice variety, but as you can see, we're going to get a wide variety of colours as we go around. So fingers crossed we get the correct shades in the correct place. So with that all said and done, keep an eye and see Yoran working down there in the bottom corner of that field. Let's crack into it. Let's get some lime spread, and we'll catch up with you probably when we finish this field, moving into the next one, see how we're going on the lime supplies in the trailer. Are we going to end up so close to having this field finished without having to go and fill up? And I regret not putting that little bit of lime into the spreader at the start, but there we go. We are almost done, just that one little bit to do. So we'll head on over this way. I think this is, we've taken 4 loads out of the trailer, so it'll be definitely not going to have enough to do all 3 fields in one load on the back of the trailer. I do like that once I've opened it up, I can just drive back and under and it will keep on unloading. So that's a nice little touch with it. Case in point, we'll get ourselves turned in here without colliding with the back of the trailer. There we go. And just get into the right spot. There we go. It's almost full before the animation has time to kick in. So we'll head on in here and go and get this last little piece done, and then we're going to move into the other grass field. We've been keeping a little bit of an eye out on what Joran's up to. As you can see, he is powering through that field. He's almost going to get finished that in much the same time as we're going to get finished in the second field with the grass, which will probably work out quite well. Means we can move into that one with some lime spreading and get started on the cultivating at the same time. So yeah, things should work out pretty well on that front, I think. Anyhow, let's get this through here. As you can see, we've got a patchwork of colours, but the system tells me that everything is being a-okay and optimal for the type of soil it is going on to. So we'll get this finished off, we'll top up on the way past the trailer, and then we'll go and get into the next grass field. Won't take quite so long, it's not quite as big, just has some very long field boundaries. In fact, 2 headland passes on that just about will have the field done. But anyhow, almost done here, let's get into the next one. There we go, into it. I was going to try and do 3 headlands because that would make the inside rows a little bit more simplistic, but it wouldn't let me do that just because of this narrow bit up in here. So what we'll probably do is run the couple of headlands through here with the steering assist, and then we might just manually infill a few parts because I think that will work out more efficiently than doing some short passes and regular turning, which is what we would otherwise have to do if we tried to follow what the steering assist is telling us to do. So computers can be helpful and can make your life easier in some cases, and in others they just can't quite read the situation as well as a human eye can. So we'll make use of our human eye. Anyhow, there we are, we're into this one. We'll get it all done. And I'm looking forward to getting the Ford out and getting the cultivator out as well and having a run with that. Now it just occurred to me as we got into this field and heading around the headlands, I'd actually talked about ploughing up a big chunk of this field over there, which, I mean, it's a no-brainer to do. That is a lot of wasted land we're not using, and in fact there is actually some in the other field up near the house which we could have done as well. So a little bit backwards because we probably should have done that before applying lime, but I think what we will do is we'll go and definitely get the tractor once Joran's finished with it. When he's spreading the lime, we're going to come in here and plough those little bits of the field up. Now, we don't have the soil data on it. The agronomist has already been in and scanned everything. He didn't pick up on those pictures either, so I guess we might just farm those without the information. The cost of the inputs and everything like that, while we might not be able to maximise the field 100%, cost to get them back out and rescan all those sections once they're ploughed and everything like that will probably far outweigh the benefits for those small bits of land. But at least it'll mean we've increased our area, particularly considering we've lost those couple of fields. A little bit more area is not going to be a bad thing. So, yeah, just something I had forgotten and thought I would mention. But there we go, we're just about empty again, so we will keep going. The wheat's looking good. Must admit, the wheat is looking pretty fine out there. Well, I was worried that might be the case. We have just emptied the trailer out. We should have enough lime left in here to finish this field off. There's only a little section up in here that we still need to do. So we'll just get out in here, you'll see it. Kind of make it out there on the mini-map, but there is just a little bit on the end of this pass. It's where we just finished off. Section in here to do, and then maybe 4 more passes in there, so should be just enough lime, but it does mean we are going to have to get the co-op to run down and we'll grab the truck and bring us back another load so we can get Yoran's field done, or at least the field that Yoran is currently ploughing. I haven't actually seen how far he's through yet, so it's going to be a bit of a question of whether we're going to finish doing this first. In fact, can we make out? Doesn't look like he started headlands yet, so I'm going to make out that we're going to be finished here beforehand, and then we can go over and see how he's progressing. And then we can get out with the cultivator, the land dole that's sitting there under the tree, and the Ford, and get into these fields and get them started to be ready, because once they're all cultivated, they're pretty much going to be ready for planting. We'll have to sort out some seed, probably some fertilizer, and things like that too. But first and foremost, we need to get this all done and ready to be planted. Now, the other thing I was thinking about as we were cruising around here is that the wheat fields, we only managed to get fertilizer on some of them. If you recall, when they were planted prior to winter, we ran out of money to buy any more fertilizer, so we planted them without fertilizer. So we do have to try maybe get some liquid fertilizer put on with the sprayer, or something like that, just so that we're giving that wheat the best opportunity to return the best yield on our investment that we can. At the same time, I need to be mindful that at the end of this month we need to have another 60 grand to be able to pay off our debts. So fingers crossed, after our conversation with the baling contractor, that he might come through with some tillage contracts around town, or around the county. But until we hear from him, we will not know if there's going to be anything there we can do. Of course, the priority is of getting our fields prepped and planted and everything like that too. But there we go. That is this all done. Perfect. And plenty of lime left over, at least for this field. Right, let's go and park this up. We'll go over and see if we can find where Yoran is. So just checking out how Yoran is going in the field. He's making a good start here on the headlands, got all the inside of the field done. A few little bits and pieces of tuning, which we might have to go through and tidy up. Not his fault. That tractor can be a little bit difficult with a 3-point hitched plough horn to get aligned, so we can understand why he was having problems there. That will be the co-op back with another load of lime, ready to go into this field. But would you believe it, we're standing here under the tree because it's started raining. We've had the most rotten luck on this farm with the weather. Rain today, tornado last time, all that snow we had over winter. It has not been the nicest place to be from a weather perspective. So I'm hoping this rain doesn't hang around for too long, because we need to get this planting done before the end of April, and well, technically we're in the last stages of that, so we need to try get all of these fields prepped. It shouldn't stop ploughing, it shouldn't stop the cultivating, but seeding in some rain is probably not the best idea. So I'll take a look at the weather forecast to see how long this is going to hang around for. Hopefully that blue sky sort of all around, it's just going to be some isolated rain and we're not going to have to worry about it for too long, and it won't last. It will disappear and we'll be able to carry on with what we need to get done. Well, there's the forecast. It's just gone 10, so we need to have some rain through. Should be gone by 12, and then we've got a window in there until about 6 o'clock in the evening. Try and get everything planted. And then you look, May, rain. Sun between 10 p.m, 8 p.m, and 4 a.m. Well, what that means is it's not raining, because we certainly will not have any sunlight in those hours. So, oh well. It is what it is. You can't control the weather. That's the one thing you will learn very, very quickly as a farmer. Now, just looking here, corn. We can plant corn in May, but I want to be able to harvest it earlier than December. I don't want to be mucking around in the snow. And if we have a look at our soybeans, we've got a big planting window for soybeans, so we don't have to rush through this month, but I really, really want to get things done. So we'll leave Yoran there. We're going to go and grab the Ford out. We'll get that hooked up to the land dole, and let's go and make a start on some cultivating. See what sort of job we can do while it's raining. So let's get out here. We've got the Ford, we've got the land dole, we've got everything pretty much ready to go to get some cultivating done. So let's get this folded down. Let's get this grass all chopped up and into the ground so we can create a nice seed bed to put our crops in. Now I haven't talked about what we're planting where, but basically this, or the two fields we've put the lime on, this one and the one on the other side of the main driveway, are both going to be corn, and then the one Yoran is in at the moment is going to be soybeans. So these two fields were soybeans last year, so we're going to go from soybeans into corn, and the other field was corn last year, so we're going to go from corn into soybeans, whereas these two fields behind us, which have the wheat, and they were corn last year as well, so I've gone corn and wheat. So just keep our minds on some crop rotations going on there. Right, that's enough of that. Let's get this lowered down now. I'm mindful of the fact we need the plough to come over and do this a little bit as well, but there we go. Seems to, now that it's down, it seems to be doing an alright job, doesn't it? Tractor up and going. I didn't need to set some guidance steering up, but I just thought let's put that down there, and we will go and check just how that's doing as a job, because I want to get the middle of the field done and the headlands done last. So jump out and just have a little bit of a scratch around out here. It's like it's chopping things up pretty well. That nice short grass that we have there from being mowed is ending up deep in the ground, and you can sort of see the root structure coming through a little bit. And it's not too sticky. This rain's, it's more pesky than anything else. It's not really wetting rain. It's just annoying and not the sort of rain you really want to be working in. But doesn't look like it's sticking to the rollers too much. That becomes a real issue. You get lots of dirt in the rollers and it just turns into a mass of yuck. And spend more time cleaning it than you do working it. So we'll keep an eye on that, and if it does get too bad we'll have to call it quits. But let's jump up and let's get into it properly. Well, I changed my mind. I figured we'd actually better off working in this field and starting on this side, because well, we don't have any sections over here we want to plough in. There's a little bit up there by the house, but it's not too much, and we'll do that as soon as Yoran is finished in the field behind us. So I thought actually we might as well make a start over on this one. And then that means once we've ploughed the section up in the other field, we can go over that with the cultivator, with the disc here, and chop that down into a nice seed bed. So it just made more sense than doing little bits here and there. So let's carry on, let's get into this. I don't know, can't make hay while the sun shines because the sun's not shining. Let's make mud while the rain falls. Well, 2 passes in and suddenly the tap got turned on a whole lot faster and the rain has started coming down a lot harder. I think we're going to have to park this up for now. We can't carry on in these conditions. It is just going to turn into a mud bath. So we're going to wait for Yoran. He's, can you see him behind there? Somewhere over there. There you go. It's just about coming around to us again. So we'll have a chat to him and we'll just say let's just leave it. For now, we'll park things up and not make any more of a mess. So long as the grass is bare, the water should run off and absorb pretty quickly. It's where it's open and furrows and things like that, it just gets muddy really, really quick. So we shouldn't have to wait for too long once the rain's finished, but we are going to have to wait because I don't want to make more of a mess of these fields than we have to. Well, there we are. That is pretty much us done. Yoran's got around, he's finished off for now. So just going to get in here, we'll get this all turned off as well. There we go. And well, we're just going to head up into the house, let this rain do its thing, and then get out of the way so we can carry on farming. Well, the rain has finally stopped, as you can see, but we've got more coming in. About 6 o'clock tonight, there is meant to be another front coming through, bringing a whole lot more rain. So we're going to head on back out here. We've just finished our lunch. We're going to get Yoran back up and going. He can get that field finished off, and we're going to carry on with this one. Hopefully we can get some seeding done. We're going to run out of time. Like I said before though, and earlier, we did look at that planting calendar. We don't have to get things planted today or in this month. If we go into May, it's not going to hurt, but ideally we were definitely going to get things planted this month, just so we have a sort of earlier harvest window was really the main thing. But just have a look around this. All looks pretty good. Can't see anything bent, broken or damaged, so should be good to go. Right, let's jump up here into the tractor, get into it. So there we go, Yoran's off and heading to the races. Well, not the races, but he is off and back around the field. A couple more headland passes to go for him. But we're going to go and try and get ourselves lined up over here, hopefully. That lowered down. And we're going to carry on now as well. And finally, get this field all done. It was interesting actually, as I was walking across here, if you noticed, the pH value was pretty much perfect. Or good across the whole thing, and actually nitrogen's not too bad either. So putting corn into these ones, so obviously know that's a bit of a higher nitrogen demand. But the field with soybeans actually probably won't need any fertilizer at all, which will be nice. We'll just be able to carry on with that one. So anyhow, let's get into it. Let's try and get as much of this done in the next few hours as we can. Well, we could not have timed that much better if we tried. I'm amazed at how quickly I've managed to rip through this field. This Landau has done a fantastic job. The Ford power up front has hauled it with ease. But I'm saying it's good timing because Joran has pretty much just finished this field next to us at the same time. So he's just parked up over there. So we're going to have to go over and give him a hand to move on. Looks like we might have to go through and just tidy up a few things. Obviously the plough struggled in a couple of those waterways, those little swales that are in the field there, and a couple of issues there on the ends, but nothing we can't go and fix. So I think what we might do is we'll finish this field up, and then we'll go and grab hold of that. We'll tidy up those couple of little bits. We do want to go and plough up some of that other part of the field. I'm just going to go back around and pick up this bit we've missed, but of course I want to make it a little bit bigger on this field, and then obviously the other field make it a little bit bigger. So I think Joran could probably get in and get some line put on with those little bits done. So we'll get him up underway spreading the line. We'll take the plough, and before you know it, we could have every single field ready to plant, because the speed this is going, it's not going to take long to get the next one done either. So let's carry on. We'll get this last little bit finished off, and then we'll be done. It's quite funny actually, driving up there towards the dealership, and those couple of deers are looking very enviously over here at this Ford doing some hard work. I think they'd love to be out here turning some ground over, but no, they just have to sit there and watch. And there we go. We'll get this folded up so we can get into the next field. I don't want to drive around the yard with it unfolded. Just about probably fit actually, but we're going to be into this one. But we need to get that plough going first. There's the truck back with the lime. They turned up a little bit earlier. They've left that there once more, so Joran can get that lime done. So we might actually grab the lime spreader, take that over for him to get started on, and then we'll jump into the plough. So jumped up here into the Massey. Got Joran over there underway with the lime spreading, and like I said, we are just going to shoot around, try and tidy out these few little bits and pieces in the waterways and what have you. Get them all ploughed as well, just to make sure we've got everything ready for a good seedbed for our crops. So I'm not going to bother showing you this. We're just going to get it done. It's not the most exciting job, but it's just something we're having to do. So we'll get it sorted and catch up with you when we're finished. Well, I think that is everything apart from a couple of spots on the edge of the field which didn't quite get ploughed. I have newfound respect for Joran after driving this tractor and combo for the last few minutes. We did not leave him with an easy task, that is for sure. Just the way it's articulated, you can see how it swings, you turn one way and it goes the other. Just little bits and pieces like that. Now, kind of almost a little bit loath to plough this, but I don't think we're going to get much benefit out of this. So I'm not actually going to bother adding that section in there, but let's head on over to the other part of the field. In fact, it becomes a good little staging area, depending on which field gets harvested first, to park a truck or a grain cart, those kind of things in there. Put a header on the front of the combine, all of those kind of bits and pieces. So we do stand to benefit quite considerably though by ploughing some parts of this other field. So we'll head over, take a look at that and get that done. Joran's, I think, 4 loads through with the lime so far, so he's making some pretty decent progress with that, which is good, because once he's done there, once we've got this field cultivated, then we want to go and cultivate that one, chop all that lime down into the field, and then we'll be good to go. Now, the idea here is actually to add all of this. This is a big section that's not being farmed. Obviously we've got the pond on that side. I do want to be a little bit mindful of that and not set ourselves up with too harder areas to farm. If we just take a look at the map, you can see we own all the way up here to the railway track, so we do actually have quite a bit of land in under here, and you can look quite a bit, and it would make this field so much nicer in terms of a shape. Just get rid of this irregular curve around here. So we are going to hopefully follow that down. Let's have a look if we can just drive forward. Should have turned create fields on. Let's have a look. Here we have, there we go. So let's outline this one really quickly. I'm not going to go all the way up into the corner. We're going to make it as easy as we can for ourselves and as practical as we can for ourselves, so when it does come time to harvest, we're not stuck with anything too difficult to deal with. Not too close to the trees, anything like that. So I think that's probably going to be a pretty good spot right about there. So let's race through this, get it all done. Well, I'll tell you what, this has been well worth the effort. When we turn around, see how much extra field we have and how much more practical this field shape is going to be. Let's get spun around here. Look at that. Look how much we've added into it. I reckon we've probably 10% more on this field area. Don't know if there's any way we can tell. We might just have to have a look. Can't remember if any of the data will update or not. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this has all worked out. The only thing we're going to be lacking on any of this new bit of land is any soil data. So there's really no point putting any pH, any lime, any fertilizer on it when we come to plant. But for a start, it's going to give us a whole lot more crop than we were going to have to start with. And more crop means more money in the long run. So there we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go and park this up now. We can probably just about get out here, straight out here with the Ford. You can see the field over there is getting a nice shade of white, which must mean only one thing, and that is that Joran is getting a good way through the lime spreading over there. So we're going to have that field to cultivate up soon. So we really do need to not waste any time here talking. It's parked and go and jump over there into the Ford and get the land dole moving. So we'll turn this off, make sure I don't have field create on anymore. Joran's empty once more, so we'll go and make sure he gets filled up, and we'll turn that off, leave it there, and keep on moving, get things going. I can't remember if I looked at this before, whether it was 9.64 or not, so I'm not sure whether it's taken into account that extra bit of field area. Probably not, I don't think it has, but that's not to worry. Let's get going. We're here in the Ford. We'll get things unfolded. There we go, and let's just have a look and see what sort of course our steering assist is going to try and generate. And already you can see that is a much more practical course for us couple of headlands. We'll end up with those wonky little bits down in here. Almost actually going to have to do the headlands first just to be able to figure out those edges. I might do this inside headland and then we'll do that before we get around and do the last one. So let's crack into it. Let's get started. There we go. This should give us a nice outline for where the end of those rows are. Mainly just for these little bits in here are the awkward ones to try and figure out. So let's carry on and let's get this field done. Get everything ready for planting. Here we go, just heading around the very last little part of this field now. Looks like the lime truck is on its way out, which can only mean one thing, and that is that Joran has finished. Well, it can actually mean two things. He's either finished the field and doesn't need any more lime, or they've run out of lime and they're off to get some more. I'm hoping it is the former of those two, not the latter. Fingers crossed. In fact, there we go. AI worker F has completed their task, so that probably means Joran has been able to finish. He must have told them that when he filled up last he'd have enough to finish it off, so very good. Right, hopefully they can get out of there and not cause too many issues with traffic. Cars stopped for them, nice one. Very, very courteous traffic around here, that is for sure. Anyhow, we're going to carry on, get this little bit of the field finished, and then I think we might just about call it quits for this episode. We'll leave Joran, I think, hand him over this tractor. Let him run around that last field, get that all beaten down into a planting condition. I might go tinker with the planter for a little bit and get it all set up and ready to plant. But it's been a mammoth effort so far, and we've still got enough time left in the day to get our planting started. So make sure you check back in on the next episode, because that is probably what we'll be doing, is a whole heap of planting. So, and if you want to come along and lend a hand here on Ray County, make sure you leave a comment down below. I will go through those and pick someone to be our helper next time. Yeah, there we go. Another episode of Ray County done and dusted. As always, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you in the next one.